teach you about Roll in Procreate. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, recently Apple released the new Apple Pencil Pro, which brought some really exciting new features. And we've been waiting for an update from Procreate so that we can use those new features in Procreate. And that update is now here. So you can go to the App Store and download the latest version of Procreate, which is version 5.3.10, and update your app. And I'm going to tell you about what these new features are and some other goodies that I have for you too. So with the new...
First off, let's just start with a hello.
Hello, sorry, I'm so excited. I'm just like, let's dive right in. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff is here with me. He's my husband. He's always like running things behind the scenes. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited. I've been like waiting for this update to be public for everybody else because I've had early access for a while and it's so fun. And it's like game changing. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but it is for me. I'm really excited. So hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
And we're just excited to share because, I mean, you've been working on this for over a month.
Has it been? Yeah, it has been. That's correct. Like I found out about the new Apple Pencil Pro along with you guys when Apple announced it at their keynote. And I did get to go to New York. They invited me into New York so I could get hands-on on that day and like play with the new iPads and the new Apple Pencil and ask a bunch of questions and stuff. And it was so cool and so much fun. And I'm so grateful that I got to do that because it got me the opportunity to get access really early so that I could start working on the brushes that I made for you guys because I am a brush maker. I've been making brushes since like 2016, I think, many years.
Wait, so that's just 8 years?
That's just 8 years. That's just 8 years. And brushes, brush making is like such a huge passion of mine. When I'm in the brush settings, it's like my playground. It's like, I love seeing what I can do. And so anytime Procreate or Apple introduce new ways for me to make brushes, my mind just goes crazy. And I've got some really fun stuff to show you with the brushes. So
I mean, just a quick hello, everybody, you guys. Like, we've got people here from, Rebecca's here from Florence, Italy. I love how she put on that to make sure that we knew it was Florence, Italy.
Hello.
And we've got Alabama here, Switzerland, Norway, the Philippines, Mexico.
Wow.
I love that we have, again, people from all over the world.
I know.
Out here that we get to
I know. I love it
support.
anytime we get to go live and get to hear where everybody is from. And it's so awesome that you guys get to join and we get to be together for a little bit, even if it's virtually, and that's really awesome. So, yay.
Yeah, we got Montreal, Albuquerque, New Orleans is here. So, hello,
awesome.
you guys.
Awesome. Hello.
We even have someone from Russia here, which
is
crazy.
Cool.
Okay. Central
all
Florida.
Over the place.
I love it, you guys, from all over.
Hi, guys. All right. So, as I was saying at the beginning, the update to support Apple Pencil Pro just arrived. Procreate released it yesterday. So if you haven't updated your app to version 5.3.10, go ahead and do that. So that way you can take advantage of the Apple Pencil Pro features, which I'll tell you about right now. So what this update brings is support for features like the squeeze gesture, where you can squeeze your Apple Pencil, and you can program this to do things like quick menu, can enact quick menu. It can you can use it with eyedropper, you can use it with quick shape, and you can use it with layer select, which is my favorite thing. And towards the end, I'll show you a little bit about using those features. But the real star of this show is the roll feature. So with roll, you can now twist your Apple Pencil to control the direction of your strokes, and you can also, if it's programmed into the brushes to do so, create other effects like change color, size, and other things like that. So if you download the update and you go into Procreate and you start using the brushes, you are probably going to feel a little disappointed because nothing is going to react to roll. And that's because roll is a feature that needs to be enabled in the brush settings. So what I have been doing is putting together a set of brushes for you to just play with roll. So that way you have something right out the gate to kind of explore this new feature. And I call the brush set aptly Roll Play. So you can download my Roll Play brush set for free at it's get.bardobrush.com/roll. And we'll put a link in this chat, and I also have a link in the description. So you can go grab those brushes right now so you can follow along with me as we play with them. But I had so much fun putting this little brush set. It's just 8 little brushes, just to kind of have fun and play around with this new feature and explore some of the possibilities that you can do with some of the feature. It's not just controlling the angle of your stroke. There's like other cool things that you can do. So go ahead and grab those brushes and we'll go ahead and get started. So kind of my plan today is to take you on a tour of the brushes and kind of explain what they can do and some of the possibilities with Roll. And then towards the end, I'll show you some of those other features really quick, like how you can turn on the squeeze gesture and stuff like that. So that way you can get all set up and you're ready to go with your Apple Pencil Pro. I did want to mention really quick, if you're watching and you don't have an Apple Pencil Pro and you download those brushes, they still will work in Procreate just fine. It's just that the features that Roll enables in them, like, you know, being able to control the angle and some of the color things won't work, but you can still use them in Procreate, and I think they're still really great brushes for all purpose, so I hope you enjoy them as well. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll switch down to my iPad and we'll get going on this. Oops, I'd already turned off. Okay, one moment. Let me just not do that. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and this is the brush set, little thumbnail that I put together for it. And I drew this using the brushes as well, so you can see some of the textures, and there's a lot of fun things that you can do. But let's jump into Procreate and start playing around. And I do want to say also, if you're having questions since you're here with us live about using these brushes or about Roll or the other Apple Pencil features, feel free to put them in the chat and I'm happy to answer. As I mentioned, Jeff's here with me, so he's manning the chat and he'll shout out questions to me as we go.
Yeah, we love it, you guys. If we don't get it to right away, don't worry. We'll have your questions all saved up. And so
yeah,
as we're going through, we're here to make sure you guys get all the questions answered about new functions for Procreate.
And I am also hoping to make a more like in-depth video about some of these new features. So if you have any more questions that we don't get to, please ask them because I can answer them in future videos or content and things like that. Okay. So I'm gonna create a new canvas and I'm gonna use my favorite size, which is 3800 by 2800 pixels. And I have a canvas template saved for that. But if you don't have that size, you can always tap this little icon here and you can type in 3800 by 2800 pixels. And then you can click create and that'll save a template. But I already have that saved. And the size of the canvas matters a bit because the size and scale of the brushes will, they are dependent on the size of the canvas, so I would recommend using that size. All right, okay, so I'm gonna pop into the brushes, and here is the Roll Play set, and we've got our 8 brushes. The first one is called Gritty Rake Roll, and this is like a rake type brush, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that brush, and I'm gonna choose just any color. I've been doing a lot of blue lately. Okay, so first of all, when you are using the new Apple Pencil, you'll notice that there's a little brush icon here when you hover over, which gives you a little preview of the brush shape. If you don't see that, because I want you to be able to see that, I think it's really useful. If you don't see that, you might need to go into your Actions menu, Preferences, and turn on Brush Cursor. Right there. So just toggle that on and then you'll see that little preview if you don't already see it. There are some other advanced cursor settings which I want to touch on. I don't want to get into like too much of the nitty-gritty yet, but I like to set it to show while hovering and then the active color. And you'll see why doing the active color is cool when we get to one of the other brushes. So show while hovering, active color. Again, that was under advanced cursor settings right there under preferences. Okay, so let's do it. I'm gonna make my brush size big just so you guys can really see this. I'm just gonna go to 100%. And so you can see before I even start pressing down on the screen, I can twist my Apple Pencil and you can see that the shape of the brush is changing. So I can draw and I'm twisting my pencil to kind of make it follow a certain direction. So if I wanted it to always be going like big and fat like that, I can just turn it that way. I'm twisting. or if I want it to always be like one way, it'll always be like up and down, and I can kind of get this shape like that. I'm going to clear this out to give myself a little bit more room. So a really quick way to clear out a layer, if you were ready to delete everything, is just take 3 fingers and do like a little Z motion, and that'll clear out a layer. So just kind of like play around with keeping it one angle and seeing what that looks like. And then also kind of changing your angle as you go and seeing what that looks like. And what's cool about this is you can really control the size of your brush in a different way. So it'll make a little bit more sense in other brushes. But you know, if you wanted a really thick stroke, you can have it facing that way, and then you can turn it and do a little thin stroke that way. So you get kind of more bang for your buck without having to like go into the brush, you know, settings or the slider and change the size and stuff like that. So this one's fun. Do some little short strokes too. I think I like it doing little waves. I think that's kind of a fun. Oh, look at that. That's really fun. And just by, I'm gonna make a, you know what, you guys? Instead of clearing out the layer like I did, I have a better thing that we can do. I really love the page assist feature in Procreate when I'm just like playing around on lots of different pages to like try different things. So I'm going to show you that, and you can do that too, and I think it'll be much better. So you're going to go up to the actions menu, and let's go to canvas, and then turn on page assist. And when we do that, there's going to be this bar at the bottom, and those are going to be our pages. And if you tap new page, it'll create a new layer essentially. And it also hides the other layer, which is cool. Even though you're not actually turning the layer off, that's what's cool about Page Assist. You can kind of like, you easily hide your other layers while you work on a new one. So it's kind of like a sketchbook. Okay, so I was trying to do like the wave. So I was holding it one direction and getting waves like that. And then I like tilted it to kind of like an angle. And I got waves that look like that, which is really cool. And I'm gonna do it like completely, so it's like horizontal like that, and see what that looks like. I don't like that as much, but I like these two. So it's fun to kind of experiment and see like what kind of marks you can make, which is good for anytime you get new brushes, it's always good to just kind of like experiment with pressure, angle, and see what kind of things that you can do with them. So that's the Gritty Rake Roll. I think it's a really fun brush. You can also like twist it as you go. Here, I'm gonna do a new page and show you that. Like I'm twisting it. Woo. It's hard to like get all the way around and keep going, but like, I don't know. I don't know if that's useful, but it's kind of fun to play around with. So anyways, so that's a Gritty Rake Roll. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next brush. Let me get a sip of water here. Okay, so our next brush is Angled Chalk, and I call this one chalk because I feel like the kind of texture is a little bit chalky. So, and it's an angled brush, and so just like the Rake Roll one, you can see that the brush shape is very oblong shape. It's like long. It's not like circular or squarish. It's very long, and that is for a brush that is controlled by roll, really important, so that you can get multiple sizes just by twisting the pencil like that. So if I have the brush shape horizontal like this, I'm gonna get these big strokes, and then if I turn it vertical, we'll do it down here, I get these really thin strokes. So when you're drawing something, this is super handy. You know, maybe you wanna draw like a broad shape or something, but then you wanna come in and do something really precise, or like add, maybe this is like a orange, or I draw oranges a lot. And you want to draw a little stem, or like maybe you're drawing, let me do like a little leaf. I'll do a new page. Maybe you're drawing like a leaf with big broad strokes while keeping the brush really big and open. And then you can come in with a darker color and with this thin side and do these really like nice thin strokes. And you might be like, well, why don't I just make the brush size smaller to do these small strokes? Let's do a little let's actually here. Let's look at the difference between doing like the brush size smaller versus changing the angle of the brush. So I'll draw another leaf. It's not the best leaf. Don't judge my leaf. And then I'll go back to that other color. Okay. And then, so now let's just make the brush size smaller and see what that's like.
And I'm judging your leaf. It's okay that everyone else isn't.
Okay, so this, I'm still using it like in that same horizontal orientation. You probably can't see, but it's not the thin side, it's the thick side. Just to kind of show the difference between using the thin side versus the thick side at a small brush size. I hope this is making sense. But I feel like you can really tell the difference. Like when you're doing just like on the thin side, you get these really beautiful like tapered strokes versus doing like the thick side like that. So there is a difference between just like making the brush size smaller and or like actually changing the orientation of the brush. So I hope that helps illustrate, you know, the difference for that. But this brush is really, really fun. I also think it would be fun for like lettering. Let me do a different color. Do like a bright blue. No, too bright, a little darker. These angled brushes are really nice for doing like lettering. So if you wanted to do like, you get these like really nice thick and thins. So I'll write roll. So I'm kind of like twisting the brush just a little bit so that way I get these nice thin strokes on this part of the letter and then thick strokes elsewhere right here. So I'm gonna write like roll. I'll do that again. But you get the idea. So it's nice for this because you can really, you know, get in there and control when it gets thin and thick. So if you're a letterer, this is going to be really exciting for you, I think. Anyways.
You think? You know it is. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that too. Like I feel like there's a whole bunch of possibilities for calligraphy brushes and things like that. It's very, very exciting. So that's the angled chalk brush. I just really love the texture of this. And actually on the thumbnail, I use this brush to do these kind of like, all these little background kind of like textures. I just did like smudge to like lots of little strokes. Kind of like, I made the brush really big and then like did a bunch of strokes. And they made like a really fun background texture, especially when you're doing like on a color and then like a slightly darker color on top or slightly lighter color. And then of course there's those thin strokes as well. Love it. Getting real messy today. All right, so that is the angled chalk brush. Let's go ahead and make a new page and we'll explore the next one. This one's angled drag. Pick a different color. I'll go back to my blue. And this is similar. This is another kind of angled brush, but this one has a little bit different of a texture. It's kind of got this like sort of like dry, brushy kind of texture to it. And I wanted to give you multiple kind of brushes to play around with. So this one has sort of similar effects. But I really love the texture of that. So if IVF wanted to do a letter, I'll do like a B. I ran out of room for my B. Let's do a new page. So kind of changing the angle ever so slightly to get those thin thicks. B, C. C, I'm gonna keep it thin until I get to, there we go. So I kept it like on the thin side, and then when I got to this part of the C, I made it the thick side and then back to the thin side. I could probably do a whole tutorial on doing letters. I think that'd be really fun. So maybe I'll do that in the future. But this one is a really, really fun texture to it.
Scott McKenna was asking a great question. Will you be updating your existing brush sets
I meant
to
say that at the beginning. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I wanted to get this one out to you, but I have been working on making updates to all of my, I don't have them on this iPad yet, but all of my existing brush sets. Especially, like, I'm going to have probably like a subset of additional brushes or altered brushes that, go with roll. So that way you'll still, if you don't have the Apple Pencil, you'll still be able to use them. And then for the Apple Pencil Pro users, we'll have the roll stuff. Sorry, I'm not explaining that well, but yes, the answer is yes.
I think that makes a lot of great sense. It's like, one, we want to make sure you have all the amazing brushes that you already have and love, and we're going to be offering you more free additional tools as you guys, one, support us. We love making sure that we're getting you guys awesome new tools in your hands as well.
Yeah, and if you own many of my brushes, updates to those brush sets are always free. So if I make updates to brushes, you always get those for free. And I do have new brush sets in the pipeline. I'll show you some work from the new brush sets maybe once I get through all these brushes. Very, very excited about the new brushes. So you can look forward to that. Okay, so that's the angled drag. Let's go to the paint roller angle. I love this brush. I'm going to create a new page. Okay, so the biggest difference with this brush, it's still another angled brush, and it has a little bit of a finer kind of texture. I actually made this texture from like a paint roller, like a brayer. But this one has some really fun, like paint drag kind of features. So it'll drag the paint around. So if I get a different color, I'll get like a green or something. You can kind of like blend them together like this. If I do really light, I'll talk about pressure actually. So heavy pressure, we're gonna get really dense strokes, and then light pressure, we're gonna get really soft strokes that also drag the paint around. So you kind of mix just a little bit, which is really fun. And I really, really love this brush. And again, we're gonna, you can see, there you can see the brush shape really well. It's really long, so we get really thick strokes this way. And then, of course, really thin strokes if we turn the brush that way. And then the other cool thing about a brush like this that's really angled is you can get these shapes that are very rectangular. So, a lot of brushes have like a round shape to them, and I'm talking about this shape here. And so the ends of your strokes will be really round, but since I have this really angled brush, all my strokes have these nice rectangular shapes to them, which is just kind of cool. Again, going back to lettering, like really useful for lettering. Like I can do my L and then I can turn it this way, do that side. I'll do my name. And then for the S, I'm gonna try that. A lot of twisting for the S, like that. Or you can do, I don't know, you get the idea. So yeah, that's what's really cool about a brush like that. And then my thin stroke. Ooh, what if we do like a thin to thick, like all in one stroke, kind of like this, like really fast. So thin to thick. I think that could be an interesting. Sometimes it's fun to just like experiment and play and see. And you'll find that like you do this and it feels kind of like purposeless, sort of, but later on you're working on a piece like, oh yeah, I could do a stroke like that, and like that's super useful. So so let me show you with this brush, the paint roller angle, a piece that I did. I was really happy with how it turned out. It's this little car piece. I just kind of started drawing a car. We did an automobiles tutorial actually earlier this month in Art Makers Club, which is my membership we have like live tutorials every month and a really awesome community and courses and things like that. We did a tutorial called Offbeat Automobiles where we drew like these kind of wonky cars. So I think I was going off of that energy when I made this car. And a little time-lapse replay. Oh, this isn't the one with the time-lapse replay. So I can't show you that. It's on this iPad. Or no, it's in the beta. Oh, sorry, this one's messy. There we go. This is the version I was working on before I got the public one. So, okay, time-lapse replay. There's me just playing around with brush shapes. There's a lot of experimentation happening. Okay, then look at this tree I also drew with that brush.
Let's stop. Hold up real quick just for a second, because you just said, here's all your experimentation. And like, this is something that Nancy Webb just said. This is awesome, but it's a learning curve. And like, that's the truth behind this.
Like it was a learning curve for me to figure out the best way to use these new settings which the average person isn't gonna do. And it's also a learning curve to like learn to twist your hand, like it's a new muscle. So absolutely. And that's just a part of the skill of drawing. Like there's always, you know, something to learn, something to work on. And it's totally fine that if it doesn't come naturally to you at first, it takes a little bit of time. So
that's all. That's everything with all that we do with art. It's just practice.
It is. It is. Practice makes. I heard a good one. It wasn't practice makes perfect. Is we don't say that anymore. Practice makes proficiency. I think that was a good one. Like it makes you proficient.
That's great.
And also practice makes progress. Practice makes progress and proficiency. We don't need to go for perfection. That doesn't exist. But anyways, so yeah, this is just a bunch of just playing around, which I did a lot of playing around, drawings that turned out bad. But there's my little car scene. I like just started out as a little car, and then I was like, let's add a road and maybe some trees, and just this kind of like all happened organically. I'm like, I just want more. Let's do some clouds and like some bushes, and then we'll maybe add some shading, and it just kind of kept going. And I love art like that. At one point, there was a cat in the car. I don't know if you can see that little cat. And then it turned to a person, and I gave up on that. I'm like, I don't like it. And I took it away. And then when I was finished with this piece, you know, it's a car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be so fun to animate it. And so I decided to bring it into Procreate Dreams. And I made this little piece. Here, I'll make it big so you guys can see it. And I'll play it back. And I made this whole animation just using that one drawing. Like all of these trees are like repeated over and over again. And like I layered them in the front to kind of create this like parallax effect where like the trees in the front are going a little bit faster than the trees in the back. And then you can also see how they're blurry. And this is a new Procreate Dreams feature called Lens Blur, and it's something they introduced with the new iPad Pros. It's not out yet. This is still in beta, the Procreate Dreams feature. But you get these really like natural blurs that you would see from a lens. It's different than Gaussian blur. But it was so fun, and I really love how that piece came out. And all started with making that brush. I'm like, I just need to draw something so that I can experiment and play around with this brush. So yeah. Okay. Let's go back. So that is the paint roller angled. Let's create a new page. And now we're getting to something really fun. This one is really fun. This one's called Color Twist. And it does exactly what it says in the title. Let's pick a color. I'm going to do like a nice soothing blue color. And my brush size, I'll be at like 44%. Maybe we'll go a little bit bigger. I don't know. What is that? 75% or so. And so the cool thing, remember when I told you guys to turn on your brush preview? If you hover and you turn your pencil, you twist it, you'll see that the preview changes color. And that's because this brush has some color dynamics built into the roll feature. So if I were to draw and then roll, the color changes a little bit like this. And so this also has some like kind of wet paint draggy kind of features, but I just really fell in love with doing this little twist movement and just layering strokes over and over. It was like really soothing. So you can just draw strokes and like twist and see how the colors change, you know, with every stroke, and even in the middle of strokes, depending on how far you twist it, it'll go all the way back to the blue or whatever color you started with. But so yeah, just like draw some strokes, change the angle of your pencil each time. I'm mostly keeping it like kind of like the flat end, but you can also, you know, do the thinner kind of shape, do the thinner side. And I think this is just like I don't know, like you can make illustrations, you can make stuff look like stuff, and that's great. I do that all the time. But sometimes it's fun to just put down colors and just get into like a meditative state and just do it. It doesn't have to be anything, and I really love that. So that's kind of what this little exercise is. Just keep going as much as you want, doing little strokes. And if you want to do like this kind of calming meditative thing and create something cool. I actually just released a class to do that. Now come to think of it. I just released a class all about making maps in Procreate, and I have a whole set of brushes. I'll show you a map real quick. A whole set of brushes. So you just like dot in little cacti, little hills and roads, and it's very, very soothing. Here's one of them, a little countryside scene, and I've got all these brushes that are for it, lines and trees and grass and hills, and it's very fun and meditative. I made it all to be about like relaxing and making art. So that one's on Art Makers Club and Skillshare, and it's a lot of fun. Imaginative map making in Procreate. There you go. I plug it for you. Yeah, so this brush is really fun, and I love it. So that is the color twist brush. And now let me make a new page, and I'll show you the next brush, the petal stamp brush. And so for this brush, I'm going to choose like a nice pink color for my brush. And I made this brush to show you like the capabilities that roll and hover bring to using stamp brushes. So what's so cool about this is now if you're doing like a stamp brush, like where you tap to make a stamp, you get a preview of exactly what it's going to look like and what angle it's going to be at before you stamp it down. So this is like so useful. Like hover has been around on the iPad Pros for a couple years now, but only on the like iPad Pros. And it's like, it's so useful for doing this kind of like stamp brush work. So you can just angle it and tap like this and make a little flower. I think there's a lot of cool possibilities for all kinds of petal shapes and things that you could like use for a feature like this, or really just like any stamps, any kind of stamp brushes. And I built in kind of some like color variation into this brush where we have like a little bit of shadow, or, you know, like shading and texture, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's really exciting that you can just do that and get really precise about like where your stamps go with this new feature. It's super cool. I love it. I did a tutorial in Art Makers Club about doing block printing where we made like how you carve like block printing carving stamps, and you stamp them, and it's like this, oh my gosh, makes it so much more easy and fun. And then I also made this flower center stamp. And this one, I will admit, doesn't have any roll capabilities, but I wanted to give you a brush for the center of your flower because you can't just leave it like that. So I'm going to grab like a yellow color, and we'll stamp that in the middle, or you can adjust the size. There we go. That's pretty cool. You know, hold on. I just had an idea. Okay. No, it didn't do that I thought it would. Okay, bear with me. I have an idea I want to follow through on. Okay, never mind. I thought I might experiment with that more, but like being able to like twist to control the size, which you can do in the settings, but I might need to play around with it a little more, because that would be cool if you could like do your stamp and then twist it to make it bigger or smaller. So I'm going to experiment with, like I just had that idea, so I'm going to experiment with that some more, and maybe there'll be some stamp brushes in the future. So you can draw a few little flowers. I'm going to do one more. I'll do a different color. We'll do like I'll do like an orange flower. A few little petals, and one right there. And then a flower center. There you go. Fun. So you could just have fun just filling a whole page up with flowers if you wanted. It's a really fun brush. But yeah, lots of possibilities when it comes to stamp brushes. And then the last brush is Flower Burst. And this is a very like kind of funky experimental brush. But I really wanted to show you this because it shows off some of the more interesting capabilities that you can do with Roll. So for this brush, it requires a primary and a secondary color. And that's what these little squares are right here. So whatever color is here in the color picker circle is your primary color. And then the other color is your secondary color. So why don't you choose I'm gonna choose like a pink. This is for making like little stems of flowers. So we're gonna do a pink and a green, or whatever flower color you want and a green. So I'm gonna choose like a pink color for this will end up being the secondary color. And then I'm gonna tap over to the other square and choose a green. So something like this. So now you can tell it's your primary color again. The green should be the primary color, so green should be here, and then pink should be the other square. You can switch between the primary and secondary, like flip-flop them by tapping, see now this is the primary color. Now this is the primary color, you just tap. But we want the green to be the primary and the other color, the flower color, to be the secondary. Okay, so we're using the flower burst brush. And we're gonna just draw, my brush size is like I'll do like 22%. A line and then twist. So you draw a line up and then twist, and it's gonna bloom these flowers. And this is so fun. Like this is like, I had a lot of fun playing with this possibility because in the brush settings, you can have roll control, obviously the angle like we've shown, the color like we've shown. You can also have it control things like jitter and basically what it takes to make these shapes kind of spread out and multiply and change color. And I think it's like I don't know if you'll use this in a drawing, but it is fun. But I think it really shows off some of the more interesting capabilities that roll, can bring to the table. I'm excited to play around with, what else is possible when it comes to roll. But I think this one's really fun. If you don't turn it all the way, you kind of get like a little bit purpley flowers. Or I can change the secondary color. Maybe we'll do an orange. I haven't tried this yet. Orange. I'm gonna do a new page. And then make sure I set my primary to the green. Ooh, that's kind of fun. So it's just fun to play around with, and I'm excited to keep playing around with that. It could be purple, it could be like a lavender or something. Oops. Let me go back. I'll just do green. Okay. That's kind of fun. So I hope you had fun kind of exploring these brushes with me. Some are just fun to play around with. I think some are definitely great for making illustration. I'm so excited to see what you make with those and, what kind of possibilities you see with the roll, feature, because I'm excited to keep playing around with it and seeing what else we can do with these new settings. Did we have any questions pop up while I was kind of going over the brushes, Jeff?
Someone was asking, one person was actually just saying, I want to understand how to make brushes. It looks so fun to play with the settings, but there are so many to mess with.
Yes.
Flower bursts.
I know, isn't that fun? Yes, to all of that. I've obviously been spending years, exploring these settings, and now it comes as second nature to me where I can like know what I want and I can find the settings to do it. And that's why it has become like my playground, like I said. But the way that I started learning about brushes was just to, experiment with the settings and kind of see what they do. That combined with the Procreate handbook. So if you go to Procreate's website and you go to their I think it's like their learning center, I forgot what they call it now. But you can find their handbook and it tells you what all the settings do. And there's a lot of settings, like even within each of these tabs, there's like a ton of settings. But it explains what each one does, so you can like really learn and experiment. I have one tutorial where we kind of make some brushes. I think it's the stars one. We did like a galaxy art and we dive a little bit into brush making. And then I think that might be the only one. I've been considering like doing some more like brush making type tutorials where we can like explore the brush settings a little more. In the maps class, actually, we create custom, stamp brushes. We can make your own stamp brushes, which is really fun. But yeah, there's a lot in there. There is a lot in there, and it takes a while to kind of learn it. But you can get far with just learning a few of the basic settings, especially when it comes to like customizing brushes. So.
And what's really interesting is a few people said that Roll wasn't working and then they re-downloaded and installed the brushes. It sounds like possibly maybe we might have had like updates done after, or I'm not 100% sure, what the troubleshooting steps are, but it's good to hear that everyone has reinstalled the brushes a second time and they're all working. So make sure to install the update for Procreate first.
Yeah, it should be version 5.3.10, 10, and then install the brushes.
Oh yeah, and they updated Procreate after, but now everything's good. Yeah, so
yeah, okay,
it makes sense.
So yeah, make sure you have the update before you try to use the brushes. I don't know how they'll behave in a previous version. I haven't tried it.
A lot of the functions don't work.
Well,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah.
They probably behave like they would in like an iPad that without an Apple Pencil Pro, which I'm going to show you that too, just because sorry, the screen is done.
Yes, everyone, that is the correct order. You update the app first, and then download the new brushes.
Okay, so this is my old iPad. Let me just. Okay, I'll put it right there. So these are the same brushes without. This is a regular Apple Pencil Gen 2, and this is an iPad Pro from 2022. So it's like the M2, the previous version. So the Rake Roll, it just won't twist. It's going to be always one direction, and it won't you can't control the angle. So that's the difference, but it's still it's a really cool brush. Angled chalk, same. Can you turn? You can. I don't know. Yeah, so that one's the same. You just don't have the, control of the angle. But this is a angle drag, same. Paint roller, still a great brush, but you can't control the angle, but it's still a really fun brush to use. And then color twist. So color twist is going to be the only one that's a little funky because it has these color dynamic settings built into them. So it's not going to be the color you choose. It's going to be some other color. So that one's going to be a little weird. And then the pedal stamp. Oh, let's do a new page. The pedal stamp will work, but you have to kind of twist your screen to control the angle. It's a little, not as good. And then the flower center obviously is not going to do anything. And then the flower burst will you'll get the stem, but not the flowers. So, there's still a few useful brushes in there, definitely, if you don't have this new Apple Pencil Pro. Cool. So, really quick, I just want to show you a couple things with the other cool features that you get as a part with the Apple Pencil Pro with this new update. The first one is the squeeze. So you can set the squeeze. You can just squeeze the Apple Pencil, and you can set that to do a few things. You can set it to do the eyedropper, quick shape, quick menu, or layer select. And I'll show you where to find those settings because it's not going to be on by default. You can go up to the actions menu, prefs, and then you go into gesture controls right here. Okay, and so let's start with eyedropper. So eyedropper, you can set it right here, Apple Pencil Squeeze. You can turn this on, and if you do that, now you can squeeze to select colors instead of holding a finger down to select colors. You can squeeze to select colors. So that's one option for squeeze. The another option, oops, wrong one, gesture controls, so is under quick shape. So there's an option for Apple Pencil Squeeze. You can turn that on. And that little symbol means, oh, it took that function away from the eyedropper and now it's doing it for the quick shape. That's what that little yellow thing that popped up. So now if let's get a new page, get a different brush. Now we can use quick shape. Here, I'll draw a wonky circle. Squeeze. Instead of holding it down like we did before to enact, which you can still do, you can also do that squeeze. Do your shape, squeeze. A little triangle, squeeze. Do a line, squeeze. So you know, it's actually a little bit faster if you do it with the, you know, squeeze. Squeeze. And then the next one would be under quick menu. And so there's an option for Apple Pencil Squeeze there. So that's going to take it away from quick shape and apply it to quick menu. And quick menu, I don't talk about quick menu a lot, but it's a feature where you can have this menu that pops up, and you can set these little boxes to be whatever you want. Like this one will flip your canvas horizontally like that. So if you like need to flip your canvas because you want to check that things look good both directions, you can really quickly do that with quick menu. This one's copy. So that's a really quick way to copy something. Like you just go like that, squeeze and then drag, and you got copy. Squeeze, like clear layer. So if you need to clear your layers quickly, clear layer. I'm not going to do that, but so you can program these to be like your favorite brush. You could put your favorite brush in there. I'll probably have to do a video on quick menu a lot, but I don't use it in my tutorials, so I don't really talk about it that much. But it is handy for like doing things really quickly. But my favorite one is under layer select. This is my favorite use for the squeeze. So there's a toggle for Apple Pencil Squeeze under layer select. And now I'll need, let me pull up a different art because, let me see, I think this one, nope, that's all merged together. That's not what I need. I did a reel kind of showing this octopus, but I'll show you guys already. Nope, I don't have all the right stuff in this. I should have been more prepared. Okay, I'll do this. No, why is everything merged together? All right, I apologize. Give me just a second and I'll find something that has, okay. So this is a chateau I drew based on, we did a art retreat in France this year, and this was the chateau we stayed at. It was so fun. So the squeeze. So now you can squeeze and hover. Oops, I'll do it. Hover. Oops, little. Squeeze and hover. There we go. And it's gonna highlight whatever layer you're hovered over. And if you let go, it'll select that layer. If there's multiple layers like on top of each other, like there is in this one, you can choose what layer. Oh, like actually I needed this layer. Let me do a more simple piece because it might be better to illustrate. I'll do this pretzel. There we go. Okay, so the pretzel we've got, hold on a second. So the pretzel we've got like, you know, the background, we've got some shading, we've got some salt. So you can hover over, you know, whatever layer you want to select it like that. And if there's multiple layers, you select the one you want. If there's multiple layers on top. If I want to select this salt, select that. If I want to select this, you know, lettering, I can just hover over that and select that. And then you can start like drawing on that layer. So it's really, it makes it really fast, especially when you're working, like when I was doing this octopus piece and there's a lot of overlapping layers where I needed to add shading to like the back tentacles, I could just hover over the tentacle, choose it, shade, hover over another tentacle, choose it and shade. And it makes it so fast. Like I really, really love this layer select feature. It's really, really awesome. So that's where you can find that. And then a couple other things that are new. There's some haptic feedback, which you might have already started feeling in your Apple Pencil. When you use the selection tool, go to the selection tool and you draw a selection as you go, you'll feel it like you can feel it vibrate, which is kind of cool. If you're moving something around, like all, why is everything all merged together? Here, I'll do this pretzel. If I wanted to move this pretzel with the selection tool, oops. Go into snapping and turn on snapping. And when you move it into like these positions, like this is completely centered, you'll feel haptic feedback when it snaps, which is pretty cool. And then one more cool feature, which I want to show you is in Liquify. So you go up to the adjustments menu, Liquify, and do one of the twirl settings, twirl left or right. And if you twist your Apple Pencil now, you can control your twirl just by twisting, which is pretty cool. Like this. Woo! I'm just gonna make this octopus all crazy. So you used to have to like hold it down and then it would just start swirling and then you'd let go when you want it to stop. But now you can just twist. And I think this has a lot of kind of like fun meditative kind of possibilities. Like if I go to that page with these and then go to Liquify and just start twisting, and you could just kind of like get into a flow state where you're like, swirls, so fun. And you're just, it's a physical, like I think there's something about the physicality of it. You're just like twisting. So that's another really kind of like fun thing that you can do. But yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the new roll feature in Procreate, and you're having fun playing with the new brushes. I am excited to see what you make with them. If you have more questions about the Apple Pencil Pro, please feel free to let me know. You can put them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer them in a future video. And if you know somebody with an Apple Pencil Pro, let them know about these brushes, because I'm sure they'd be excited to try out the new features, since there's not any like already built-in brushes, you know, that have these features, you know, by default. So that's really exciting. And then of course my Bardo brush sets, I'm going to be working on updates so that those brushes can take advantage of the roll features as well. So you can look forward to that. And I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy art making, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.